Everybody won't give you advice, y'all. Hey! Let me just tell you something. You think you know your boyfriend now? When you get married, then you will know. You will know him. You don't know him at all. You think you know him? A lot of people, they give advice based on their own experience. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm talking about advice versus reality, okay? And the people that were actually asking me to do this topic was actually asking more for the context of marriage, but it's actually something that can apply to your lives in whatever area or capacity, okay? So we're going to be looking at people giving you advice, your aunties, your uncles, your mum, your dad, your mentors, just whoever. People just love to give off advice, okay? And we're doing versus the reality and what we're actually experiencing. But I'm going to use it mainly in the context of marriage, but I know it can be applied in different areas. So if you're interested, then yes, my darlings, I would love for you to keep watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment below, and you better subscribe to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, then you better click that notification bell so that you can get more videos from me. Bye. No, we ain't going nowhere. You better keep watching. Okay, so when it comes to marriage, okay, when it comes to someone who is getting married, my gosh, everybody won't give you advice, y'all. Hey, let me just tell you something. You think you know your boyfriend now? When you get married, then you will know. You will know him. You don't know him at all. You think you know him? When you marry, then you will know him. People are gonna wanna give you advice, y'all. And I think for me, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that people want to give you advice. I mean, you've never married before, you know, and so yes, you want to learn from people who have been married. Of course, you want to get advice as much as you can. But if I'm honest, nothing is really like just going through it yourself. I think advice is amazing, especially because people have been married for like 30 years, 40 years. And for me, when I had my bridal shower, I actually said it's so important for the last like hour or so, just have all my aunties, and I want all of them to give me advice. I want all of them to give me advice, because for my aunties, you know, I know all of them personally, and all of their marriages are completely different. You know, I've got aunties where they're married to people that live in a completely different country. I've got aunties where, you know, people, they are together. I've got aunties where, you know, they unfortunately are not with their husband. And so those are the people that I want to get my advice from, because not only are they, you know, God-fearing women, but also they've been through a lot. And from them, for their point of view, I want to learn from them, because I want to learn, you know, from their mistakes. What things, you know, why did marriages go down, or why did, you know, this not work out, and, you know, what could I take from that? So I think, first of all, advice is great, and I would definitely recommend seek advice from people around you, seek advice from people who have gone ahead of you, seek advice from marriages that haven't gone well. You know, why has it not gone well? What can I be aware of? And marriages that are amazing, and honestly, they're the ones that you want to be getting advice from, because sometimes they can be quite bitter. Their advice to you can be very negative, to the point that it's like, okay, you're not actually encouraging me to get married, you're kind of discouraging me, and so you need to be very, very careful who you get advice from, because a lot of people, you're listening to their advice and you're like, okay. I think another thing is wisdom and discernment, okay? You're gonna need a lot of that, because some people give you advice and you're just like, right, I'm taking that, but I'm definitely not taking that, I can assure you. Okay. So yeah, I think it's really, really important to have wisdom and discernment, to be careful with the advice that you're getting, but also to appreciate advice, because you know, we cannot be running around like fools. We must learn from the people that have gone ahead of us, and it's a beautiful thing, so that we too cannot make the same mistakes that maybe they have, but we too can really prioritize what's important. So yeah, I think when it comes to people's advice and my reality, if I'm honest, every marriage is different. I mean, I'm only, 6.5 months in, and 6.5 months in, I can already tell you that every marriage is different. A lot of people, they give advice based on their own experience and their own marriages, and sometimes that cannot necessarily always benefit you, because you are two different people. You're not the same couple as the people that are trying to give you advice, and so, you know, their situation may be different, their context may be different, and that's why I say it's so to be careful when you listen to people's advice, because you need to understand, are they saying this based on their own circumstances, or is this something that I generally can take on? And I think that's so important as well, to be able to take advice and think, what applies to us, you know, what might not necessarily be relevant to us, and being able to really be aware of that is key. So for myself, I think when looking back at people giving me advice for marriage, it can be advice for work, it can be advice for anything. I think definitely you want to learn what not to do. You want to be aware of things that necessarily haven't gone well in the past so that you can apply it. But I think there's nothing really more important than just knowing who you're married to. I think that's so key, and honestly, I said it in my marriage life update video. If you haven't watched that, you better go and watch that, where I basically just speak about my life update and my marriage update and just being a wife and how it's all been. But honestly, I think knowing your partner is everything, and sometimes you can get loads of advice, but that's really for their partner, you know, and I need to know about my partner. I need to know my partner's flaws. I need to know my partner's strengths so that I can encourage and nurture that. I need to know my partner's weaknesses, so that I can cover them, so that I can help him in that area. I need to know, you know, what ticks him off, what builds him, you know. And I think it's very, very important that yes, people are going to give you advice, but your reality is what you need to focus on, and focusing on who you are with, and knowing what advice to take on to apply is key. So yeah, so a lot of people were giving advice, guys. Some advice that I had was, you know, as I said, you don't really know your husband, you don't really know your boyfriend until you marry them. And I think I understand in terms of the context in which those people were saying it, but I think the way that they were saying it is not very encouraging. And also, if I'm honest with you, I don't really agree with it. I think if you are in a couple right now, and you've spent, you know, a couple of years or whatever, months, some people, with that person, I feel like you can notice their flaws, and I feel like you can notice their strengths. I think the main thing is, whilst you're courting and whilst you're dating, are you taking note of those things? Are you being observant of those things? Sometimes we shut a blind eye to the character traits of our partners, and I think marriage just literally amplifies it. But all the flaws that we knew that we had of each other, all the flaws that I had, all the flaws that he had, you know, we've seen them in our courting, we've seen them when we were dating, and so it's not a surprise in marriage. It just might be in a different context, it might just be in a different situation, but we knew this already about each other. And I think my main advice for that is just, look at me, now I'm giving advice. I'm talking about advice and now I'm giving advice. But yeah, either way, I'm just saying my main advice would just be, know your person, know the person that you're with, and know them while you're dating. And yeah, you know them while you're in marriage. But do not run from advice. People are definitely going to give you advice. People can't help it. They just love off giving advice. It's just the way that people are. But I think be wise and discern what to take, but just also be mindful that at the end of the day, it's your relationship, it's your marriage, and every marriage is different. And I think knowing each other is the best thing. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people's advice have been real and have been true to what you see. But at the end of the day, because everyone's marriage is different, honestly, it's gonna look so different in every single way. But yeah, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.